J Mac from Syracuse, New York, man. Came all the way out to see my Colorado Buffs.
What channel do you watch that brought you out here?
The pregame show.
Never watched the college game till last season when Coach Prime came to Colorado. And I am in Colorado at Folsom Field. I am the Colorado Buffaloes auntie from Texas. Sweet treat.
Hey, I've been following the pregame show. It's all about let's go Buffs.
Away from Texas, yes sir. Watch you every single day. Nobody lays it down like Uncle Neely and the pregame show.
Neely, pregame show behind the scenes of everything. And why does he get that kind of access? Why does he get that kind of access? Because trust is involved. You would never get the kind of access you desire unless there's trust and relationship. You're trying to put your own game.
Shurmur.
I don't really have anything to lead with, so I'll just answer your questions.
Hey Coach, Romy Bean, CBS Colorado. What's it like game planning when you've got 3 different quarterbacks, 2 drives each, and so on down the
Yeah, no, it was an interesting week. You know, as you can imagine, when you lose a game like we did last week, right? You cross a lot of emotional bridges, right? We have a bunch of young players. You know, I said this prior to last week's game. We only had really one returning starter on offense out there playing. You know, we had some role players, but Jordan Seaton was the only guy. So we got a lot of young and a lot of new players in there. And that's the reality of college football, as we know. And so I'm looking at this. We're crossing some bridges to find out who our best guys are still. You know, in the NFL, we had the 3 preseason games, right? This would be preseason game 2. And so, but along the way here, you're battling for victories, right? I talk often about life's journey and then this 2025 journey. We've got 12 stops 1 week at a time, you know, and this was stop number 2. And we learned a lot about a lot of players. Love Ryan Staub. You know, last year when we were in the midst of all the recruiting and you all cover it, you know, Staub and I have become very close, and I appreciate him because of the way he plays the position. Quarterbacks are very cerebral. He found out just a day ago that he was going to get in the game, so he came into me and told me I like this, and this, and call this here, bump up. And, you know, he thinks like a quarterback, and I think he's going to be a good example for anybody that plays with him. And so for him to go out and have success, you know, I think we had 45 seconds before the, you know, at the end of the half. And Coach Prime said, what do you want to do? I said, let's go, right? And he said, well, Staub's in. I said, well, let's go, you know. So I called his first play to get a completion, and they batted it down. But in a 2-minute drill, you only need to make one play to get yourself going. And he hit the long seam ball. And then called switch all go to get in the end zone. He threw the check down and we scored. And, you know, that comes with a lot of reps. That comes with a lot of savvy. And he handled it great. And then he popped a couple other long ones that, you know, got us one in the end zone and one down the field. So, you know, and it's easy. Like, it didn't surprise me not one bit that the guys in there playing were rooting for him because he has that spirit.
Brian, go ahead. Hey, Coach Brian, I'll hold it to the camera. Well, that's about Caden. And, you know, last week, both he and Coach Brian mentioned some nerves a little bit. His first game as a Buff. But coming out today, 6 for 6, that opening drive leads you down to a touchdown.
Yeah.
And the fourth quarter situation is kind of different. But how did you feel about Caden today?
Yeah, I thought that was huge. You know, I think, and I'm happy. You know, last year we were always talking about slow starts. This year you know, we didn't win the first game, but we've started fast, and Caden did a good job on that drive, right? He made some good plays today, and you know, I give those guys credit to be in the flow and stay in the flow with a 3 quarterback rotation. It's not easy. I've never been around it in my life unless the guys were getting hurt, you know. So this is unique for me too, but you know, I got a decent idea what plays they're good at, and you know what they're going to rock and roll with, and so just try to give them what they're good at, and we lean on the run a little bit. I think we need to mention. I lived in that region for 15 years, and Delaware is a good football team. They get a good gritty kid. They coach the heck out of them, and I kind of walked away like last year when we played North Dakota State, I walked away. These were tough, competitive dudes, and they're well coached. And so I don't think I don't know. I don't think you minimize the team you played against. That was a good team.
Coach, even as throughout fall camp, everyone was talking about the battle between Caden and Juju. You were always one to mention Ryan. I'm sure it wasn't even something you had to mention to him. Just kind of getting to know him the last couple of years, that he was always going to be a part of the equation at some point this season. Is that kind of how you approach it? Not even really needing to say much to him to keep him motivated and ready for his opportunity whenever it came.
Absolutely. And I love Ryan. I love Juju. I love Caden. I love Dom. I love them all. And the way I'm looking at this, because I can't put my finger on the recruiting. I really can't. I do everything in my power to help get players here, but I have no idea who's going to be in that room. And so I just coach them all like they're my son. And when you put them on the field, you're rooting for them to have success. So with what happened with Staub today, I'm really excited.
Nikki, go ahead.
Hi, Coach. Nikki Evers, Yahoo Sports. Back-to-back games with over 100 yards rushing. How pleased have you been with the balance of your offense, and how do you feel like it's going to progress?
Yeah, I think it was good. I feel like we left some yards out there today, both run and pass. Got a little sloppy at times, but again, 31 points. Yeah, I think everybody got to keep track. We got to score points, and I mean we can run it across, throw it across, send a text, DM. We can do whatever we got to do. We got to get the ball across the goal line. And I think being able to run the ball helps us be more balanced, certainly. Those guys that are blocking for the run are doing a good job in pass protection, and so it's all coordinated. But we're getting ready for week 3 against Houston here on a Friday night, and we got a lot of stuff to clean up. I think that would be fair to say, and it's really not cliche. I think that's just kind of where we're at. Got a lot of young players. Juju was in there with a lot of rookies, or freshmen, so to speak. And we believe in playing freshmen. And as we go along here, we're fighting our butt off to get victories, but we're also trying to develop the players. And we are hard on them in practice, right? We get after them. You have to practice football, and these young people have to practice football. And they don't always like the response they get from a practice, but when the ones that grind through it are going to develop, and that's what these young people need to do. Last one for Pat Ryan. Go ahead.
Ryan Scholes from Route Report. You kind of touched on this in your last answer, but you guys have been running the ball a lot more and seeing a lot more success on the ground. What are you seeing out of the guys like Simeon and DeKalon and Micah so far in these last 2 games?
Yeah, no, I think they've done a good job. I think it's fair to say we've really upgraded the offensive line room from a year ago. I think the same could be said for the running back room. And I've said it. I said it when I had Saquon Barkley, and he was the lead back. When you have running backs, it takes a village. You need more than one running back, and typically their skill sets are all different. So then we got to wire it up and call the plays that they're good at, and try to utilize their strengths. And I like the development of that. First of all, I like the talent in that room, the people that were responsible for bringing the talent in. And then certainly I like the way they're developing, and they've had good positive production in our last 2 games.
Thanks, Coach. Yep.
Hungry. Me too. Wow. So where y'all from?
We up from Miami, Florida.
All the way from Miami.
All the way from Miami.
Appreciate y'all coming, man.
Hey, man, we love what you guys are doing, man. We want to support you in every way.
Appreciate your family.
And we're recruiting at home. Everything we see at home, we bring it this way.
My man.
You gotta believe. Dude, we've been believing since day one,
That's
dog.
why I gave them to
Remember
you.
back in Jackson State? We've been believing with you in the pregame show.